Hello, BookTube. I've got a tiny bit of mail for you here to keep our little mail streak alive. I had a bumpy day yesterday. I didn't make any videos yesterday, and I could have done the same thing today, but I kept thinking about a video that I saw recently where Dr. Philip Chase on BookTube had a conversation with Jimmy Nuts. So two terrific fantasy booktubers who have regular features on their channel where they talk to other people, talked with each other. And in the midst of that conversation, it was a great conversation. It goes on for a nice long time. It's a really, really sink in and listen type thing. But in the midst of that, the question came up: why would you talk about, these silly little books at a time like this? Why? Basically, that was the question. I'm paraphrasing, but that is the question. Why would you? Aren't there more important things for you to read about, think about, talk about than the things that you typically talk about? And both gentlemen gave the answer that sometimes you just need to. Sometimes you need a break from all the other things. I kept thinking about that yesterday and today because that's been on my mind. Making booktube videos, especially cheery booktube videos, it's my default setting. It's my nature to be cheery. In fact, when I was a guest star on Chatting with Nuts on Jimmy Nuts' own channel, a couple of the comments referred to me as the giggly guest. I was enjoying myself, and I that's my default setting. I like to be happy. I like to be cheerful. And the last couple of days, that has been almost impossible to do. If anything, the two stories that silenced me yesterday are worse today. So it's been on my mind. Do you make videos? Is that at all healthy to do? Surely it can't be less healthy than simply grimly refreshing your news feeds every 5 minutes. Surely maybe some good can come from you doing this. I'm kind of coming down on that side of the equation, obviously, because I'm making videos today. And the two stories, just for those of you watching these 10 years in the future, the two stories, one is national and one is domestic. International. One is international and one is domestic. And they're both awful. They're just both awful ongoing nightmares. They don't even have the small mental benefit of being over and done at the moment, at the time of filming. There was a mass shooting in the state of Maine. Apparently it was an ex-serviceman. He had an enormously powerful weapon of war that no one should be allowed to own. It should be completely illegal. It shouldn't be legal for you to own a gun of your own in this country. It is not covered by the Second Amendment to our Constitution that people often say protects your right to own any kind of firearm that you want. It doesn't even protect your right to own a gun. Merely to keep and maintain, but not to own. Anyway, we don't have to make an argument about the Second Amendment. But even if you're a normal person and you still support the right for people to own guns, especially guns that have only one purpose, the kind of gun that this guy went on a rampage with in Lewiston, Maine, has only one purpose. It's not for hunting. It's not for target practice. It's not for self-defense. It's only meant to kill large numbers of people. It's a weapon of war. He shouldn't have had a right to have it. And also, the preliminary reports, we don't know for sure, but because the story's not done, the story's evolving, is that he had demonstrated huge mental problems and still was able to get this gun. Anyway, he went on a shooting rampage in Maine. Lots and lots of people killed. Lots and lots more people injured. So the death toll will go up. And he has not yet been found. He did not stick around. He didn't go to one place, shoot it up, wait for the cops to show up, and then shoot at them so they would kill him. He didn't kill himself, as far as we know. He's still at large. Who knows what weapons he has? Who knows what ammunition he has? Who knows what alternate transportation he has? Who knows where he is? It's America's gun problem, just magnified into this nightmare scenario that the full dimensions of which can really be seen by the fact that it is not dominating the news in this country. Other things are dominating the news. For an hour, it was dominating the news. It's not anymore. Not only did he kill almost 20 people, and more are going to die, But he's still at large. Nobody knows where he is. When I film this video, no one knows where he is. No one has apprehended him. He might be easily kill more people. And yet, Americans can't even be bothered to think about it. And we have American representatives who, in addition to a little United States flag lapel pin, have a United States lapel pin that is an AR-15. Which is the kind of weapon that he used. So that story is ongoing in the United States. And it's I've spent time in Maine, and I live on the eastern seacoast. This guy could be anywhere by now. It's natural for me to be refreshing the news feed of that and ignoring everything else. And then there's the international story, which today took an Orwellian, just a macabre turn, that I have been hoping that I was reading this wrong and that this was not going to happen. I've kind of been expecting this, but I've been hoping that maybe shuttle diplomacy on the part of the U.S. president or other nations would maybe lower the temperature. Israel has shut off internet access to the Gaza Strip. Already shut off electricity, any kind of relief, food, water, anything like that. But now they've shut off the internet. So there is no way for the world to know what's happening there. And the answer to why Israel would do that could not be more obvious. Because Israel has been taking a beating in the last week in the court of public opinion, in the court of international public opinion, it's been taking a beating. Obviously, if you cut off food and water to a captive population and start shelling it from the ocean and from the air, you are committing a war crime. Every time you do that, you're committing a war crime. Now, the Israelis or the Israeli government would say, we're dealing with a terrorist organization that has intentionally entwined itself with an innocent civilian population specifically so that we cannot hurt it. Some of that innocent civilian population is going to have to die if we aren't ever going to be free of this organization. It's a brutal calculus, I admit. And in the back of my mind, and in the forefront of a lot of anti-Israeli commentary that I've been seeing, was the idea that maybe the Israeli government has decided on a far more comprehensive response than they are telling the press, than they are telling the West. Maybe they've decided to just level the whole area and not allow any Palestinians back into it and just take it over. So that we'll level the area, we'll unfortunately kill a lot of civilians, but we'll kill all of Hamas as well. And then we just won't have the problem again. We'll just raise the ground. I've been reluctant to take that on board. I suspected it because that, again, I don't mean to make this an extra political video, but that has been Israel's approach for the last 40 or 50 years. It's been extra legally to steal land that belonged to people not them. To just we're appropriating this land that you've been on for centuries or millennia, and it's going to be ours now. So you've got a school, you've got a community center, you've got roads, you've got houses. We're taking it all. And if you disagree, we'll bulldoze it. You can't stay in it anyway, so you'll just be gone, and then we'll build it up again. That's what the whole dispute over the Israeli settlements is all about. The natural conclusion of that, I mean, if you look at the map of what has happened with those settlements, the natural conclusion of that is this. This would be Israel using a horrible tragedy as a justification for dealing with this issue once and for all. And that's where the Orwellian nightmare part of this comes in, because they have shut off the world's ability to know what they're doing. They've even stranded, international journalists, including American journalists, are now stranded in Gaza. They can't get out, and they also can't tell their newspapers what's happening to them. They're stuck. If that internet blackout is followed by an apocalyptic assault on Gaza, something 100 times worse than what we've already seen in the last 2 weeks, well, that's what you'd do first. You would do that first. You would, if you were the government and you weren't particularly good, you weren't particularly moral, that is what you would do. You would cut off the world's ability to know what you're doing. And that's ongoing too. The same thing as this mass shooter story. These are both ongoing today. They're, if anything, getting worse. I mean, who knows where this mass shooter is? Who knows where he will next appear? And if he has ammunition or acquires it between where he was last seen and where he shows up next, that will mean more dead bodies, and that could be anybody. And also, there's no way to be an innocent bystander of what Israel is doing, especially if you are America, where I might not agree with Noam Chomsky about much, but he has been saying for 60 years, and he's been right for 60 years, that if America doesn't like something Israel is doing, America can simply stop it. Israel has a gigantic and very advanced military, and a gigantic amount of that military is totally dependent on the United States. A president who had the political will to say, no, you're not going to cut off food and water to Gaza. You're not going to cut off the internet to darken the world's eyes and then do something horrible in Gaza. No, you're not. If you do that, I will end your support. And then see how you fare. Surrounded by much bigger countries, all of whom want to wipe you off the map. No, we are partners. We have said this all the time. We are for you. We have your back. But this is just wrong. Even if it's in response to a tragedy, it's still wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. So you won't do this. If Joe Biden or his Secretary of State had simply went to their counterparts in Israel and said, no, no, turn the internet back on in the Gaza Strip and scale back your assaults. Allow humanitarian aid in. Your point has been made. This is a difficult problem, but you cannot do this. If that happened, that would stop. And it's not happening, so it's not stopping, which means both of these stories are just, well, as you can see, right? I've gone on for 10 minutes because they're preoccupying my attention, and I'm wondering, well, in the shadow of two stories like that, where I could encounter this gunman tonight when I take the bean on a walk, I could easily do that. In the shadow of these two stories, making fun, silly videos on BookTube, I know we've been over this subject many times before as a community, and I've loved the response. I've loved how people respond to it. It's still on my mind. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to make videos today and see how it feels. I don't think I'm up for a live stream. I think I would just rant the whole time. And I'm not saying that closure on either one of these stories would make them any better. It wouldn't. And there isn't going to be. I mean, the only closure possible in either story is horrible. Right? There's no happily ever after for either one of these stories. I think it has been the plan in Israel from the beginning. Since after the initial shock of that attack a couple of Saturdays ago, I think the plan from the beginning has been, well, what some Israeli officials have said. Bulldoze the whole area. We're going to make exiles out of the population. They can flee or they can stay and die, but they're not coming back here. Ever. We're leveling your apartment building. We're leveling your streets. We're destroying your infrastructure, what little of it we ever allowed. And we're doing that for a reason. It's not just to hurt Hamas. It's to make sure you don't come back. We don't want you back either. You can go wherever you want. But if this is the final act of that, then there is no good ending to this story. It'll just be that when Israel turns the lights back on, the world gets to see what it has done. And the same thing with the shooter story. He's not going to pull a D.B. Cooper. He's not going to disappear. He's crazy, and he's heavily armed. He's violent. So he either is going to kill other people or he's going to force the cops to kill him. The best case scenario to that story is the one that looked like it was unfolding last night, which is that he was holed up in his house and the police had the place surrounded. That would be grim because he wouldn't be in there alone. Everyone would die. But at least that would be an ending. Him just at large and free to go wherever he wants, that can't have a good ending. It just can't. It can't have a good ending anyway because he's destroyed a whole bunch of lives. Not just the people he killed, but all the people who are sitting at home learning about that. You see what I mean? These are preying on my imagination. It's making me extra self-conscious about making happy videos where I joke and laugh with you, which is what I love to do. It's absolutely what I love to do. Turn on the camera. For a fraction of a second, it's odd because I'm talking to a camera in my little book room, and then all of a sudden I'm talking to you. And I get to just joke and have fun, and we get to roll all kinds of subjects around and see what we think about them and whatnot. And I want to do that. That is my nature to do, but it feels weird. It feels weird to do it with these two stories. I know there are other stories in the world, but these two stories, they are the kind that I would otherwise simply maniacally refresh my newsfeed about, which is not healthy. I know. I just don't know if these videos are healthy either. Anyway, let's look at some mail. I just wanted you to know, first of all, why there were no videos yesterday. I know a lot of you wait for my videos. I don't know why, but I know that you do. I want to let you know why there were no videos yesterday and also what's on my mind. This is a kind of traction against making videos at all, for these two horrifying things to be ongoing stories every day, to be ongoing stories all day today with no resolution. Anyway, let's look at. We've got two packages to look at. Sorry for the. I will leave a note if I remember. I'll leave a note to just skip to the 16-minute mark if you want to look at the books, because that opening was just me to you. It was just that's what's on my mind. This last 40 hours or so, this is what's on my mind. I'm having a hard time concentrating on work. I'm having a hard time forcing myself to do anything else or think about anything else. I've been spending a lot of time with Frida in a world that doesn't have English, that doesn't know anything about any of these things. That's been the only thing keeping me even moderately sane, is that I have access to that world and can just go to it. If you have access to a version of that world yourself, this is one of those times where I won't be joking with you or needling you or teasing you about mental health breaks. But anyway, that's enough of that. The 16-minute mark. Let's look at these two packages and see. We'll just have to hope that they don't make things worse. What is this first one? Oh, great. Okay, this is a Murderbot book. This is a hardcover Murderbot book. This is mid-November. This is System Collapse, the new Martha Wells Murderbot series. Murderbot, of course, being a robot. This series has won, justifiably, I think, a lot of fans. What have we got here? Everyone's favorite local SEC unit is back. Following the events of Network Effect, the Barish Estranza Corporation has sent rescue ships to a newly colonized planet in peril, as well as additional SEC units. That's what Murderbot is. But if there's an ethical corporation out there, Murderbot has yet to find it. And if Barish Estranza can't have the planet, they'll sure as hell not leave without something. If that something just happens to be an entire colony of humans, well, a free workforce is a decent runner-up prize. But there's something wrong with Murderbot. It isn't running with normal operations parameters. ART's crew and the humans from the preservation are doing everything they can to protect the colonists, but with Barish Estranza's SEC unit heavy persuasion teams, they're going to have to hope Murderbot figures out what's wrong with itself, and fast. The back of this sheet is covered in blurbs, and I second them. I love this series, so this is a little hardcover, but for you Murderbot fans, it's coming out in mid-November. Maybe I will make this the first time that I write about Murderbot. I haven't written about the series yet, and then we'll do this next one, and then we'll be done, because I have a feeling that I'm now ultra self-conscious about the opening to this video. I'm now ultra self-conscious, thinking that was self-indulgent on my part. I use these videos for that effect, right? These are not. I'm not the kind of BookTube channel that does finished products that are meant for entertainment. I view my videos as conversations. I wanted you to know where I was yesterday and what's on my mind today. Two unfolding horrific tragedies that I can't do anything about except watch. So I don't know. Maybe I'll decide whether or not I want to upload this. But let's look at this next one. Oh, fantastic. Oh my God. Thank heaven for the people at Princeton University Press. Just what I need. All right, this is late November. This is an oversized, heavily illustrated book. We'll look at the illustrations. This is another one of their... They do a series of natural history guides. We've seen actually quite a few of them. Sea mammals, sharks, octopuses. And this is one on seaweed. Bless them. This is about seaweeds. The world's seaweeds. This is by Julie Phillips. And it's a natural history of our planet, seaweeds, and other algae. As photosynthetic organisms, seaweeds and other algae transfer billions of tons of carbon globally from the atmosphere to the deep ocean each year. Coming in all manner of colors, shapes, and sizes, from bioluminescent single-celled algae to giant kelps, they form the basis of most marine food webs and are found in almost all environments on the planet. Touted as the biofuel of the future, they are an absolutely mind-bogglingly abundant source of fuel that is not used. Seaweeds and algae also hold promise as biodegradable packaging and offer a nutritious food source and exhibit antiviral and anti-tumor properties. They're also that food source is also a thing. absolutely prolific, and most of them, when properly treated, in minimal treatment, something you could do, can be eaten and are nutritious. Uh, Combining accessible text with stunning images and graphics, this book takes a deep dive to explore the unique characteristics of seaweed and other algae, outlining their extraordinary evolution as well as their morphology, life histories, ecology, and uses. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. I am absolutely on board. So this is late November, and here you've just got, in these volumes, you get all the natural history stuff. So you get the distribution of a particular kind, you get where it is and how thickly it is, but you also, in these volumes, look at that. Look at the beautiful, beautiful artwork and the distribution around the world, so you know your likelihood of encountering these things. But you also get, let me get an example here. You also get, these Princeton guides also teach you, while they're showing you these great, there's some algae that's landborne on trees and whatnot. While they're showing you all of that stuff, they also will periodically give you instructions, and those are usually, I'm not coming across one right now, but those are usually in the form of black and white sort of textbook illustrations that will demonstrate. Wow, this is full of the first kind and not so much of the other. Yeah, here we go, stuff like that. So you get the whole world of the subject, in this case seaweeds, about which I know comparatively little in terms of evolution or biology. I know a lot about them as an object in the world, but this will teach me a lot. But these volumes, they're all a little bit oversized. There's no way for me to tell because this particular mail haul has an oversized hardcover and an undersized hardcover. So I don't have an example near me of a normal sized hardcover. So, but these are great. There's a whole shelf of them. And they are great as kind of one stop for the subject. You learn everything you need to know about the biology of the subject and also about its distribution. Look at that. Just incredible. You learn about the threats to here it'll be the threats to seaweed. I'm sure that, like everything else, they face massive ecological threats. You learn about their proliferation in the world, and you learn about the weird animal partnerships that fill the world of any of these things. So it's not these books are never just an exclusive focus on the one thing. They are part of the web of life. I love these volumes. Absolutely love them. So that is great. That is great. These are actually both. These that's our mail haul for today. Just 2 books and a possibly excessive explanation of myself. So that's it for the mail haul. I don't know how many videos I'll make today. I don't know if I'll do a live stream tonight. I just don't know. We've discussed this many times on BookTube. The subject of, do we keep making these fun, silly videos no matter what's going on in the world? The answer on that discussion with Philip Chase and Jimmy Nuts was, yeah, we should. Not only for ourselves, because you need it, you need the break, but also for others, for the people who watch these videos. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any definitive answers here, so I will wrap this up for now. Otherwise, I would just keep going round and round on them. But I will be back. This is not in any way to say, as long as this is going on, this channel is going to go dark. They're on my mind. I just wanted you to know what's on my mind, what may account for fewer videos, what may account for my demeanor in the videos that I do upload. I hope you all take care of yourselves as well. And I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.